this morning, sun's a bit hazy. Checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's do this, guys. Let's kick the can. My name's Ron Tyler. I'm the president of Emergency Management Associates. We're the ones conducting this program today. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to our program, everybody. We're glad to have you here. We have a few people that are still coming in here, I see. That's just fine and dandy. We welcome them when they come in the program. Guys, we have a lot to talk about, tons of stuff to talk about. I'm going to get right into it, okay? Number one, we're going to be talking about earthquakes tonight. Hold on for that. I've got some preliminary information I want to give you before we get into that. Last night, something big happened in Florida. Something huge happened in Florida. Let's talk about this. Last night, Jeff Bezos was trying to launch his big, huge, heavy-duty rocket, Blue Origin rocket from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Launch Pad 26, I believe it was, and guess what happened? Let's watch this. You're going to want to see this.
Blue Origin have just suffered a major anomaly at their launch pad in Florida. New Glenn's booster and upper stage have exploded during a static fire test attempt, and one of the two towers has been toppled over as well. It was a relatively calm Floridian evening up to that point, as over at Launch Complex 36 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, Blue Origin were attempting the final pre-launch test of their massive New Glenn rocket. Standing at 98 meters tall, the same height as the SLS rocket, which sent 4 humans around the moon a couple of months ago, this rocket is big, and big rockets make big explosions. Earlier in the evening, New Glenn had attempted a static fire. We saw the deluge system used to suppress the sound from its 7BE4 engines spooling up, but then nothing happened, indicating that the first attempt had aborted for whatever reason. After some waiting, exactly on the hour at 9 o'clock, we saw the deluge system spooling up again before ignition, and this is where things are visually very wrong. The flash from the base of the vehicle was way brighter than we are used to when watching New Glenn ignite. Something was clearly malfunctioning at the base of the vehicle, whether that be a dodgy engine taking out other engines or something else, but until Blue Origin specifies what went wrong, we have no way of knowing. The glow at the base of the vehicle got brighter and brighter and grew larger and larger, causing the second stage, called Glenn Stage 2, to also explode. This then all added together to create one final giant overpressure, leading to the demise of the entire vehicle, transporter erector, and some launch pad infrastructure. During the explosion itself, we can see that the huge launch tower on the left side of this view actually swayed back and forth. You need to put in some serious effort to sway that tower. It's over 150 meters tall, with foundations as well in the ground. The huge fireball then enveloped the entire launch site, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. During this time, we could see some streaks of vapour flying off at high speeds. These are very likely COPVs, or composite overwrapped pressure vessels, making a bid for freedom. They're tanks which are specifically designed to house high pressure gases for use on board the vehicle. Therefore, when punctured, you can imagine why they fly off at such velocities. That fireball continued to rise higher and higher, eventually piercing through the clouds, creating a huge mushroom cloud, potentially the largest Florida Space Coast has ever seen, and when it rose through the clouds, it revealed a better picture of the catastrophic damage left behind. The lightning tower, on the right-hand side from this perspective, is gone. The explosion shook the umbilical tower, but it decimated the lightning tower. The water tower, however, situated slightly further away, seems to have survived though. The old trusty Cape Canaveral lighthouse is also still standing.
Okay. That water tower you see on the right-hand bottom of your screen there, that is there to provide water for the deluge system of the rocket, the launch pad, so it survives. That's why they have it there. That water tower provides all kinds of water, hundreds of thousands of gallons of water on that launch pad during the launch of any rocket. In this case, it functioned great, but the rocket gave up its everything. Gave up everything.
As we head into the night, LC-36 is still burning. I think it's safe to guess that if a tower got knocked over, the tank farm is also not in great shape right now. We'll be getting aerial or satellite imagery as soon as possible to reveal the true extent of this anomaly. If you don't...
Okay, that's what happened last night. What he's talking about there is the launch pad itself was still burning about midnight last night. All kinds of damage there, guys. All kinds of damage there. Launch pad 36 at the Kennedy Space Center. Huge damage, guys. Huge damage. As you saw, that launch pad erector that was off to the right side of that rocket was completely enveloped in flame and explosions, and it didn't survive. That part of the gantry did not survive. The left-hand side of the gantry did. Okay? That left-hand side part of the gantry provides fuel and oxygen to rocket engines and also to spacecraft when there's a spacecraft aboard. Now, that was damaged. That was heavily damaged. They don't know right now if they're going to be able to use it again, or they may have to take it down and start over at Launch Pad 36. That remains to be seen. But Launch Pad 36 had the New Glenn rocket last night, about 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, yesterday evening, and it tried to launch and it was destroyed. Completely destroyed. They don't know what happened to it. That's quite an anomaly, okay? New Glenn was a new startup for a launch company years and years ago. When NASA put out the idea, they wanted competitors, private companies, to bid for launch services to get people either to the space station or to the moon and beyond. So far, SpaceX itself is the only private company that has survived any kind of testing and able to launch cargo and human services to the space station and to the moon and beyond. We shall see about that later. Okay. Just 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, we saw SpaceX launch its Starship, the great big huge monster rocket. 36 huge engines launching that rocket. That rocket was successful. Okay, it was launched on a suborbital flight almost 2 weeks ago. It went over the Earth from Kennedy Space Center all the way to the Indian Ocean down south to the west, and it stood up to almost perfect horizontal or vertical stand up like this, and it was still having its engines firing as if it was going to touch down on the surface of the ocean, which it did not. They would sink in the ocean. But right before it sunk, guess what happened? It went bluey. That was a common thing for SpaceX to do with a Starship rocket. The Starship exploded, and it was supposed to happen. That was a controlled explosion on the surface of the Indian Ocean. It's very interesting that SpaceX is able to land vehicles within proximity of ocean buoys in the Indian Ocean to record the touchdown on the ocean. It's called a soft touchdown in the ocean. SpaceX has provided great expertise in touching rocket engines back at home. Okay? When SpaceX launches men to the space station, so far they've been able to return the main first stage of the rocket back to the launch pad. They returned it to the launch pad. They've also returned it to a preliminary temporary touchdown pad. There's 2 of them at the Kennedy Space Center. They return them to Earth there. SpaceX is the only company that's been able to do that. Since then, China's been able to do it once. China's tested that ability once. They've been successful once. SpaceX has done it numerous times. SpaceX have done it on land at the Kennedy Space Center. They've actually caught it on a gantry where it launched from, and they've also caught it on surface ships out in the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of Florida. They've landed on SpaceX barges off the coast of Florida as well. SpaceX, like I said, is the only company that's ever been able to do that. Prior to SpaceX doing it, NASA's always returned spacecraft either to a splashdown in one of the oceans, or even then, they've also been able to return rocket motors, in other words, first stage of launch vehicles, to splashdowns in the ocean. They never return them to be reused ever. The Saturn V rocket that launched men to the moon splashed down in the ocean. They never recovered the rocket engine at all. That's what happened. Now SpaceX is returning them time and time again to reuse the first stage of the rocket. That's a first thing for any space launch company. Elon Musk must be very proud. His engineers at SpaceX must also be very proud because they're the ones that developed the technology to be able to do that. It's a wonderful thing. They can reuse rocket engines. They can also reuse a spacecraft. And even NASA, when it launched men to the moon, did not reuse the spacecraft. The Apollo spacecraft are all in museums all across the United States. I believe one Apollo spacecraft is in a museum in England. Okay, that's unreal. Now, NASA did return space shuttles to the ground and reuse them as well. They suffered 2 major catastrophes. One of them ended up burning up in the atmosphere on the return to Earth. That was a space shuttle. The other space shuttle went up into a launch phase, and within 92, I think it was 89 or 92 seconds after launch, the rocket engine blew up. Okay? The Columbia spacecraft was lost on launch phase. I think you may have already seen it. If you haven't, and you really want to see it again, I'll get the video for it and play it for you. That was the only space engine launch of humans on board a spacecraft that we've ever lost at launch time. We've launched when we had NASA going through the space shuttle phase, returning them to the ground to Florida. They got to about Texas, and then all of a sudden there was an anomaly on the wing. One of the wing sections on board the space shuttle had been damaged at launch, and then they did not know it, until they returned the astronauts to the Earth, and then that wing burned through on reentry, and then we lost the spacecraft and everybody aboard. Unfortunately, that's only twice that we've had people lost either on launch or on return to the Earth. The first time we tried to launch men to the moon, 1967. I remember vividly. I was living in North Dakota at the time. I was listening on a radio in my parents' car when it happened. We had Gus Grissom, who had previously launched a Gemini spacecraft. We had Edward White, who'd also launched on Gemini spacecraft, which were two-man spacecraft. Gemini spacecraft represented two twins, the Gemini twins in the constellation Gemini. Twins, two men on board the Gemini spacecraft. The Apollo 1 spacecraft was testing on the pad, and it had an anomaly inside the spacecraft. Bare wires ignited the oxygen in the Apollo 1 spacecraft, and it completely enveloped the spacecraft in a huge flame inside the spacecraft. And Edward White, Gus Grissom, and a man named, I had it on his name on the tip of my tongue. Oh, gosh. Roger Chaffee. Edward White, Gus Grissom, and Roger Chaffee. They lost their lives on board the Apollo spacecraft on top of the Saturn V rocket when the Apollo spacecraft malfunctioned on the inside. A bare wire ignited the oxygen system in the Apollo spacecraft and completely enveloped the spacecraft in flame, and they lost their lives on board the spacecraft in 1967. That was the only other time we lost men on board a spacecraft, the first time. Now, guys, we're going to leave this with that. Yes, New Glenn spacecraft and the rocket blew up on the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center, launch pad 36, last night at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Unfortunately, the pad has been completely lost. They're probably going to have to rebuild the pad. They may have to take that launch tower down completely and rebuild it. That's going to take some time before they can ever use launch pad 36 again. Okay? Now, given that, let's go over and talk about Longview, Washington. As you know, on Tuesday morning, there was an explosion at a industry that was making paper in Washington State, Longview, Washington. There was an anomaly. As you can see in this photograph here in the center of your screen, there was a tower containing what they called liquid, I can't remember again. Anyway, they're going to explain what it is, but the tower collapsed. The holding tank collapsed. It blew up, okay? News media's been calling it an implosion, but it was not an implosion. It was an explosion. Explosion, guys. I don't know why the media keeps calling it an implosion. It was not. It was an explosion. It blew up. They're going to get to the bottom of that. They're still investigating that. The EPA is also on scene conducting tests and everything else to determine if there's any possibility of infrastructure or even the environment being harmed. They're dealing with it. I've got a little bit of a short video here for you to see. Let's watch this.
Don't want to miss that? Make sure to subscribe to our channels and follow us across the socials. Another point to make is that this static fire was preparing for their return to flight mission following their second stage anomaly on New Glenn 3. They failed to deliver their customer payload, a satellite for AST Space Mobile, into the correct orbit, leaving it to re-enter Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Right here. Okay, they're going to explain what happened again. They're going to talk about recovering 6 bodies now. 2 people have died, and they recovered 6 bodies out of 9. They're still waiting to recover 3 more people.
At a paper mill in Longview. We are getting these new aerial images showing the widespread destruction at the Nippon Dynawave packaging plant. You can see the tank right there in the middle of your screen. K2 is on your side with team coverage this morning. K2's Noelle Ford is live in the newsroom with some of the harrowing stories we're hearing from the victims and the efforts underway to support them right now. K2's Barry Mangold is at the live desk with the status of operations at the plant. But first, K2's Daryl Burke is live in Longview this morning where the recovery effort continues. He's got more on the challenging conditions crews are facing this morning. Daryl, do we know, what do we know about when they're going to be able to get in there and get those 3 remaining victims?
Well, Angelica, that's the primary focus. First responders will return here this morning to resume the search for the 3 remaining workers who are presumed dead. Officials continue to call this a very complex and dangerous recovery operation due to unstable structures and those hazardous chemicals. Crews can have used drones even to assess the damage before even allowing first responders to enter the ruptured site. As you can see some of the damage there on your screen. Since this deadly blast Tuesday morning, fire officials say more than 500,000 gallons of that highly corrosive chemical known as white liquor has spilled. Longview Fire Battalion Chief Matt Amos says this has made it difficult for first responders who have to be decontaminated after each entry. Amos tells us they're confident that every victim will be recovered despite the dangerous conditions facing first responders.
I put this in my ears and I haven't asked anyone to.
Okay, I can't let that go.
Very complex. It still continues to be a highly complex industrial hazard. We are continuously locking out, tagging out, and isolating hazardous conditions for us as we make entries in and recover victims. I feel we're making good advancements with being able to recover 6 so far.
Amos says the ongoing effort, it has been very labor intensive and will continue to be. And because of this, along with other challenges, they're only able to make it into the recovery zone a few times a day. More updates will be provided at some point today. K2 is working to learn when exactly that will be. Live in Longview, Daryl Burke, K2 News.
Daryl, do we know about the status of the plant right now as far as the recovery efforts continue? Are workers being paid?
Yeah, Brian Wood, Director of Support Services for Nippon, tells us that some of the plant is still operating. He did say that does not include the pulp mill, of course, because that had to be shut down due to this deadly rupture. But some workers are still getting paid, and he says that will continue, but didn't provide an exact timeline as for how long that could last. But, of course, we'll continue to be following the very latest here. Angelica?
All right, Daryl, thank you for that update. And this morning, we're learning more about the victims who died in the blast as community members rally together to support families impacted. K2's Noelle Ford is live in the newsroom for us. Noelle, we're seeing there are several ways people can step up and help.
Yeah, there's many ways that you can step up and help those victims. You can join a meal train. You can even use a GoFundMe. And if you do want to donate money directly to those victims, we do have a resource for you. We vetted this resource. You can go through the Longshoremen's Credit Union, Local 4 Credit Union. They do have an account set up for the victims. Community members are also going to be hosting a fundraiser this Saturday from 11 to 7 at the Bob's Sporting Goods parking lot. And we can see that help pouring in. And the mayor says because of how tight-knit the Longview community is, he is not surprised of all that support.
It's been heartwarming to see the community come together in this way. This community's been through a lot of tragedy since its founding, Mount St. Helens, the Columbus Day storm, and we're a resilient community, and we get together, we get through it together.
And we also spoke with one of the victim's family friends, Braden Finkus. His friends say that he was one of the most selfless people that he has ever met. He had just built his dream house with his girlfriend, and then in 2 weeks they were going to Italy together. So it must be devastating for his girlfriend to be going through this. I can't even imagine. Angelica?
I know Daryl mentioned this, that first responders are working through really tough and dangerous conditions, not to mention the fact that they know some of the people impacted, some of the victims and the families. Are there ways that the community can support them as well?
Yeah, there are ways. Like you said, they do know some of the victims that were impacted. So even just writing some kind of heartwarming card to them, showing your support, that's a great way to help them out. And also the Columbia Heights Assembly is asking for food, water, or even coffee, just so they have that out there while they're doing all that tough work. Angelica?
Yeah, heroes, for sure. Noelle,
Yeah,
thank you. Let's get to K2's Barry Mangold at the live desk tracking the environmental impact of this, which is overwhelming when you think about what happened here. Some of the sloughs around Longview have been contaminated, right?
Yeah, it's quite the sight to see. The water is darker in some areas. Neighbors tell us it has a stench and that dead fish have been popping up because of this corrosive liquid being in the sloughs. Officials say, of course, don't go near it. And so to make sure that contamination does not get into the city's aquifer-based drinking system, they are now pumping water from the Cowlitz River in the top right corner of your screen through the city out to the Columbia River on the left side of your screen where you see that blue dot. They're going to be monitoring the pH balance of the water to make sure it doesn't contaminate the drinking water. Here's what the city said about it, though.
The water that you were drinking before this incident is the same water you're drinking today. Our plant is extremely complex, but it's extremely safe.
Now, here's the slough water we're talking about. This is video we got from 36th Avenue near Oak Street in Longview. You can see the discoloration in that darker color. Certainly disturbing to see if you just walk outside, and this is not the normal sight outside your home. As for the plant itself, it is still operating on minimum capacity to keep critical infrastructure, including its treatment system, up and running. Thankfully, I've seen diagrams of the facility, and the tank that exploded is not right next to other buildings in the facility, Angelica. So we're making it work as they can right now.
Imagine living in one of those homes alongside that slough right there. How scary is that? Barry, thank you. We have new information this morning about the ongoing risks of exposure to white liquor. That's the chemical that leaked out of the tank. The vapors irritate the eyes and the lungs, and the chemical, this is horrible, can burn down to the bone. The chemical is a highly corrosive solution used in paper making to break down wood chips. When it's heated to more than 300 degrees, the solution made of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide dissolves the natural glue that holds wood fibers together. Firefighters on the scene say the chemical is so strong when they got near the site on Wednesday, their boots began to burn.
The risk is really to folks who are near the site, actively involved with the recovery, the cleanup, the investigation. Those are our highest risk individuals at this point.
The U.S. Chemical Safety Board has opened an investigation into this incident. The EPA says it remains focused on preserving air and water quality.
It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room.
I can't let it go just a second. Okay. Anyway, what I also want to say about this, guys, is they have been watering down those sloughs, completely diluting that chemical of water and stuff that's in those sloughs that was released from the plant on Tuesday and may still be releasing even now. The fire departments have opened up their fire hydrants and forcing water through those sloughs, completely diluting those sloughs. And then the remaining water from those sloughs is going into the Columbia River. Now, something I don't know whether you heard them say or not, but the good thing is that the people in Longview are getting their water from an aquifer deep inside the earth. They're getting the water from a deep aquifer deep inside the earth. They want to make sure that the water in those sloughs does not go into the water table and go into the aquifers. They're trying to make sure it doesn't happen. They want to completely dilute those sloughs, get that chemical completely diluted, so by the time it reaches the river there, that it will be diluted and it won't pose any harm to anybody else. Yes, fish in that area may be harmed. Fish downriver from that plant could be harmed for a good time going forward. Fish and the plants and the environment will be harmed. I don't give a flying rat's butt what they say. That chemical is still going to be in the water. No matter how they dilute it, it's still going to be in the water. It's going to affect the fish downstream, affect the plants and environment after that. We'll see what happens in the near future. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about this. If I hear anything new, we'll bring it forward also to you. One of the things we're going to do is stay with this program, stay with this story, to make sure that they've recovered all the bodies. And until that happens, I will be continuing to update you on what's going on. I believe everybody needs to understand that very fact, that they're going to continue to find the bodies until everybody's accounted for. I'm not going to let it alone. I'm a friend of Mr. Halverson's, who's the mayor of Longview. I've been friends with him for a lot of years. I'll keep in touch with him. I'm going to keep in touch with KUTV and keep an eye on what's going on. I'm going to also keep in touch with King TV as well in Washington, and we'll go from there. I promise you we're not going to let this story go at all. Okay? Now, I want to talk about Iran. Okay? Iran is still over in Pakistan with our negotiators from the United States and Pakistan to try to come to agreement so we can get this Iran war behind us. Again, I'm going to let our people here in the United States and the negotiating team speak for themselves here. Let's watch this brief clip here.
Breaking news, and we will pick it up from here as we continue to watch what's happening at the White House, as the president has just told the nation that he is pulling into the Situation Room now. And I want to go straight away to senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy as we welcome you to the Faulkner Focus. I'm Harris Faulkner. So, Peter, we learned just moments ago from this Truth Social post so much about what's on the table. Iran must agree that they will never give up a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately opened. No tolls for unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions. All water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated. We have removed through detonation numerous such mines. It goes on to say, ships caught in the strait due to our amazing and unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted, may start the process of heading home. Say hello to your wives, husbands, parents, and families from me, your favorite president. So he is, Peter, it looks like, forecasting that this could be possible. Are we any closer to a deal? And the movement into the Situation Room rather than the Oval Office, do we understand anything about that?
Yes, Harris, we are closer. And the Situation Room part of this is most likely because they told us at 11 o'clock he was going to be receiving the presidential daily brief, his intelligence briefing. And so they don't usually tell us exactly where that is happening, but he's able to talk to different people on secure feeds in the Situation Room that he is not able to communicate with from the Oval Office, or at least it's easier to do it from the Situation Room. And because he told us he's going down there, we can tell once he's made his way underground, once there is a Marine sentry outside the West Wing. There isn't one yet, but something else really significant from this Truth Social post. We heard him at the cabinet meeting 2 days ago say that he is not comfortable with China or Russia going into Iran to take the enriched uranium, what he calls nuclear dust, out. Now he is saying that the United States and China are actually the only countries with the ability to do that, but that it is going to be taken out by the United States in close coordination, he says, with the Islamic Republic of Iran, plus the International Atomic Energy Agency. Those are specifics that we did not have before that make it sound like that part has been negotiated. And that's a big deal because so far we've just been talking about getting to a 60-day extension of the ceasefire from where they can start to negotiate the finer points of the nuclear program. That makes it sound like there have been calls to some of the Iranian leaders and the IAEA about exactly who will be the players in doing that. We just don't know when or where. This does speak to this whole week of the president talking to his negotiators and also talking to his military planners and his diplomats. He is hearing everybody out before deciding what to do next. And he talked a little bit about this in an interview that is going to air on Saturday on Fox.
If you're just joining us,
Okay, hold on a second. This report is very good. I would hope people would still stay. We've dropped 3 people in the last couple minutes here, but I would like you to stay and watch this. The rest of this, I'm going to be talking about earthquakes in just a minute. I'm going to give you an update as to what is going on here in the Iran and what is going on the New Madrid fault. You need to see this. You need to absolutely see this, guys. This is important.
This in an interview that is going to air on Saturday on Fox. Listen here.
The president very clearly stated his
that they would cross for you to go on the offensive again militarily?
Well, a deal that wasn't going to be good for us is the line, ultimately, because, you know, I'm playing it out and we're going to see, and that's what I do. I negotiate, they negotiate. They're very good negotiators. They're crafty.
They're also, though, committing egregious ceasefire violations, according to CENTCOM, who are accusing the Iranians of launching a ballistic missile towards Kuwait and also launching 5 one-way attack drones near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. officials believe the elected officials and the IRGC and the clerics that are governing Iran are having a hard time talking to each other during these talks with the U.S. So it's unclear which key groups are supportive of an arrangement that gives President Trump what he wants. But we know exactly what he wants because that is the last on-camera bite we got from Scott Bessent yesterday.
The president very clearly stated his 3: the open the strait, highly enriched uranium, no nuclear program. If there can be no deal without those, why would there be a deal without those?
So it's no secret what President Trump needs to get to the point where he's blessing a deal. The only thing that we don't know is what he's hearing from the Iranian side. Harris.
And Peter, just a point of fact, and I am going to ask you to stick when we bring in the Vice Admiral, so we're both on with him at the same time. But I want to ask about the 60-day ceasefire. I'm curious about how that stays together, because this one has been really shaky. Any word?
No word yet. But if President Trump is saying that he's going to start lifting a naval blockade, it seems like there is some agreement among the key players about letting traffic come through, commercial and military traffic back through the Strait of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing that had to happen. When Scott Bessent came out yesterday, there weren't a lot of specifics about exactly how they get to a deal, but he said nothing is going to happen until the Strait of Hormuz is open first. And so if that happens, it seems like that is a sign of a show of good faith from the Iranians, if there is good faith from Iranian negotiators possible.
Yeah,
and
whoever
then they
are.
can go from there.
Right? I mean, we still don't have crisp knowledge of exactly who's in power completely in that country after debilitating their military and radical Islamic government that was existing. In part still are. I want to bring in now in focus Vice Admiral John Fozzie Miller and the former CENTCOM Naval Forces Commander, and just ask you about the military portion of this, Vice Admiral. And welcome to the program, by the way. Peter Ducey is going to stay with us. And Peter, if you have a question, we'll pull you right on screen. I want to start with how you hold pat now through this deal for 60 days, because we can't just pull our military forces out of there. So what does the mission look like during a potential pause in this for longer?
Well, good morning, Harris. Thanks so much for having me. We're going to have to stay engaged in the region, and in particular, of course, in the Strait of Hormuz. And it's during the length of the ceasefire, so for the next 60 days. But then afterwards, I think we'll need to as well. Oddly enough, the Iranian regime has a history, as they get close to a negotiated deal, of behaving in a more belligerent fashion. And we're seeing that right now in the Strait. They've conducted some attacks against shipping. They've conducted some attacks allegedly against U.S. Naval warships. And we've responded to most of those. So it's not surprising to me that they're acting in a belligerent fashion. Even after we get a deal, I think there will be certain instances that happen in the strait itself that will require U.S. security measures to make sure that the ships that are going through can get through unimpeded. So this is, even though it may be negotiated, we're going to have to continue to be prepared to use force to keep the negotiation on track and to keep the deal in place.
Look, I've got this Truth Social in front of me, and this is how we've just learned about all of this from the President of the United States on his Truth Social post. It's lengthy, it's got some detail in it, and this part, I think, jumps out. No money will be exchanged until further notice. Other items of far less importance have been agreed to. I will be meeting now in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So that's the bottom, third of this. What does that tell you? Because the U.S. blockade of the Iranian ports has debilitated their economy over there. So the carrot still hanging in the wind is going to be whether or not they get any money.
Stop before you spend.
Okay, hold on a second. This is important. This is very important. Iran's not going to get one red dime from us. Okay? They've tried that before. During the Obama administration, he put $1 billion in greenbacks on board a military aircraft and flew it to Iran and gave them $1 billion. $1 billion to start up their nuclear program. That's not going to happen with President Trump at all.
Right. There's two ways the regime can get money, and they're interested in both of them, and we're not. The first, of course, is unfreezing of assets, and I think that's specifically what the president is referring to in the Truth Social post. But in addition to that, it's their ability to export oil, which our blockade is preventing them from doing. If I understand the deal correctly, they will open up the Strait of Hormuz, and then we will do a phased opening of the blockade and allow shipping into and out of Iranian ports, which would include, of course, oil.
I want to get to something that General Jack Keane said, that the United States needs to have enforcement mechanisms in this deal. Let's watch.
It's unlikely they're going to change, no matter what deal we put together. At the end of it, they're going to want to recover everything that they're losing and go back to their original goals. So in the deal, and our negotiators understand this, we've got to have the provisions in there to prevent as much of that as possible from happening. The second thing is, we know they're going to cheat. Look at this. Right now, what's taking place just this week alone with the violation of the ceasefire in the Straits of Hormuz. Who's doing that? The Iranians are doing that, and we had to react to it.
Vice Admiral, I want to get your reaction to that we need to have a mechanism to monitor this, a mechanism of enforcement.
The regime is never to be trusted, and so we have to be prepared, even during the 60-day ceasefire and then beyond that, to maintain the Strait of Hormuz open and free so that shipping can get in and out of the Gulf unimpeded. The Iranians from time to time will interfere with that over the next 60 days, and they'll do it after a final peace agreement is settled. They did it before hostilities broke out back in February. So General Keane is exactly right. We have to watch them. We have to be prepared to use force to make them do the things that they've agreed to on paper.
All right, Vice Admiral, I just want to reset for all those people who may be tuning in as they head into their weekend. This may be as close as we have been to seeing any actual movement in this. We know that the President of the United States has been waiting patiently to see what Iran would do. And now we know he's in the Situation Room right now, could be very close to a final determination is what he has just put on his Truth Social. Our correspondent, Peter Doocy, I want to bring you back with any final thoughts, and also we have the Vice Admiral with us.
Harris, I would go one step further. This is definitely the closest that we have been to a deal because we have not heard from the president this thing that he says at the end that other items of less importance have been agreed to. To date, it has basically just been these guys are giving us the runaround. We might call the bombers back in. Something else to note here. President Trump says that no money will be exchanged. When he ran for president, he was a big critic of this Obama-era Iran deal, and he talked a lot about pallets of cash on the back of a plane that were taken somewhere for the Iranians to get it. We don't know if no money exchanged, though, means that no money will be unfrozen, because as a result of these Iranian sanctions, the U.S. sanctions that we put on Iran, there are tens of millions of dollars in various accounts all over the world. It adds up to billions, and the Iranians really want that unfrozen. We don't know if no money will be exchanged means that all of that money will stay frozen. If they are being intentionally specific or intentionally vague, but that remains to be seen.
And you were giving us kind of the lay of the land of the daily briefing that he gets, not the daily briefing, but the
the president's daily brief, his intelligence briefing. Yeah.
His intelligence brief. Thank you very much. And how that would be different in the Oval Office, not impossible, but different with all the people assembled. So he's in the Situation Room. If you'll just relay that for us before we go to break.
Yes, the Oval Office, when there is not a press corps in there, is a secure information facility, but it doesn't have all of the feeds and all of the screens and all of the live maps connected already the way that the Situation Room downstairs does. So they could set all that up for the president in the Oval Office. It would make for a nice photograph, but everything exists in the Situation Room for a situation just like this. He can beam in the CENTCOM commander wherever it is that he is speaking from. He can beam in somebody on a ship who is dragging something, trying to make sure there are no mines in the strait. He can beam in J.D. Vance wherever he is. Everybody can be right there. They also have a long table in the Situation Room, and it's right next to where they have some snacks. So,
oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah,
you had me on the hook until that part. I was like, okay, we're in it, and now we're snacking. I want to thank both of you gentlemen. Peter, thank you for your great reporting always. We're sticking on the story. We're going to take a very quick break.
Okay, that's the end of this story at this point in time. Again, President Trump is trying to come to a deal with Iran to make sure, one, the Strait of Hormuz is open, that we have uranium enrichment taken away from Iran, that they have no more ability to drop or develop a nuclear weapon at all, and they're not going to attack anyone else, including all their neighbor states. All the neighbor states, including Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, and anywhere else that people are at. That's not going to ever happen again. Not ever. Not to Israel, not to nobody. Iran is not to attack anybody else at all. Now, hopefully that'll get done very soon. If it doesn't, President Trump has already warned Iran that they'll call on the bombers again, and Iran will be made as a piece of glass. And as he said last week to a reporter that asked him, how will we know if Iran is going to be attacked? He said to that reporter, you will know when it happens because you're going to see a glow on the horizon where Iran once was. That's directly from the President of the United States last week. So hopefully all this will be over very soon. We hope and pray. We don't want any more people to be killed than already been killed over there. Iran has been executing people that have rebelled against the regime. They've executed them on the streets. I explained that last night. We've explained that in episodes before this program. That has been going on. That's not going to happen any longer. We hopefully are going to have regime change in Iran. This kind of stuff that they've been doing in the past cannot be tolerated any longer. Okay? Now, let's go over and talk about here in the United States, earthquakes on the Mdarid Fault. As I said before, we've had a lot of earthquakes on the Mdarid Fault in the past. It's still ongoing. Earthquakes continue to happen on the Mdarid Fault right now. They're happening in right now time. Right now, guys. Now, I'm going to drop our EMA banner here. I'm going to drop our webcam. I want to briefly go over earthquakes as we know it to have happen here around the world. I'm going to touch on what's going on. Then we're going to go over to the Mdarid Fault. So please bear with me. Stay here. Before I really get going, though, I would ask you all to make sure you're still subscribed to our channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. When you do that, there's something else you need to do as well. Okay? When you subscribe to our channel, right next to that subscription button, there's a little bell icon. Click on that little bell icon. When you click on that, A drop-down menu of 3 items is going to come up. 3 items. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. I am being told by many of our web or our moderators here on the channel that they're not getting notified when we come on the air. The reason they're not getting notified because YouTube has continued to unsubscribe people from our channel, including our own moderators. Guys, if you're not getting notified, please make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not subscribed, resubscribe to our channel. When you do that, make sure you also click on that little bell icon and click on that ALL button. That way you're going to get notified when we come on the air. Second thing I want to tell you about, please help to support this channel. At the bottom of your screen here, you're seeing our PayPal address. Just scroll through here. Our Venmo doesn't work. I may take it down very soon, but right now we want you to be able to support this channel. Go to our Venmo and send donations to our PayPal accounts. That way we can continue to be on the air for you. It takes a lot of money to keep this program on the air every month. We spend $258 a month just for bandwidth, just for 1 gig of bandwidth to be able to broadcast with. That's a lot of money. We need to help support this to make sure we still go on the air. Guys, we love you. We want to be on the air with you to give you up-to-minute information about anything that's going on around the world or in this country as well. We talk about this country, we talk about earthquakes around the world. We're going to continue to do that, okay? But we need your support as well. Also, right below our donation sites, we have our email address going across the bottom of your screen, rltnspdema@gmail.com. Send us your comments, your questions, and even concerns you might have, as well as ideas what you'd like us to talk about in this program, and we'll do that, okay? Also, you see our mailing address go through here, our snail mail address go through here. It's 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We greatly appreciate your support here to keep this program in the air. Send us cards and letters, guys. Send us cards and letters. Inside your card or letter, you can also insert cash or a check inside your card or letter. If you send us a letter, make sure your check or cash is wrapped up in that letter and send it to us. It gets through. It gets through. Now, I want to tell you this. A man named Javelin that's been here on the chat. Javelin here. He sent us a card today. Okay? It's an old Christmas card that he had. I don't mind if it's an old Christmas card. You can send that to us as well. We'd love it. He sent us his Christmas card, guys. We appreciate it. Okay? Inside the Christmas card, it says, "This Christmas may be blessed with the joy of his presence, the quiet peace of the season." Now, this man is a very good man. Okay? He's an elderly man. He lost his wife about 10 years ago. He just sent us a small token of appreciation to help to keep this program in the air. Javelin, I want to tell you thank you very much for that. God bless you, Javelin. We appreciate you very, very much. Javelin says in the bottom of his letter here, he says, "You're a blessing, brother. Thanks for being here and being positive and being for real. Sincerely, Javelin." He's got his real name here. I don't want to put out his real name in case he doesn't want to put out. But guys, we appreciate anything you can give us to keep this program in the air. Okay? Now, given that, I've said my piece there. I don't like begging for money, but guys, it's getting critical to keep this program on the air. Again, make sure you're still subscribed to this program. If you're not subscribed, please do so. That's very important. Okay? Now, let's get back to talking about earthquakes around the world. First off, right here on the southeast side of the Kamchatka Russian Peninsula, guess what? This is a large 5.2 earthquake. A 5.2 earthquake on the edge of the plate here. On the edge of the plate. Okay? This earthquake came out of Japan. Came out of Japan. Japan got it from down here in in the Mariana Trench. Or the item may have come out, the earthquake may have come out from over here in Taiwan, and they got it over here from the Philippines. The Philippines got it from Indonesia. Okay? Earthquakes start down here in the South Pacific. They start down here in the South Pacific. They go all over here. They head west here into Indonesia. They go over here into also Southeast Asia, Burma area here. Burma area here has had an earthquake earlier today. I heard it come out early this morning. Okay? This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake. 4.3 moderate earthquake in Myanmar, or what they call Burma here. Okay? That came out of Indonesia. Earthquakes flow off the edge of the plate through earthquake faults. Earthquake faults here, guys. This area of Indonesia here, including Australia and over here in the South Pacific Islands, this is the largest subduction zone in the world. The largest subduction zone in the world. What does that mean? What does it mean to be subducting? One subducting plate under the other. One tectonic plate going underneath the other, just like this. In this case, they're going underneath each other's plate. That's what's causing earthquakes here. That's what's causing earthquakes in the South Pacific. That's what's causing earthquakes over here in Indonesia. That's what's causing earthquakes here in Australia as well. Okay? The earthquakes come out of Indonesia, go up through the Mariana Trench over here, and also go through the Philippines up to Taiwan. The earthquake fault then takes those earthquakes up to Japan, further north up here into Russia as well. That's how this 5.2 earthquake got here off the southeast coast of Kamchatka Peninsula here. Okay? Again, USGS still cannot get the locations of these earthquakes correct. They say this earthquake is 155 miles east-southeast of Severodvinsk, Russia. It's not. The Kuril Islands are down here. This earthquake is southeast of Kamchatka Peninsula. I don't know why they continue lying to us, but you can see where it's actually at. It's not southeast of the Kuril Islands at all. Southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. This earthquake is also going to go north, up this same fault line, up to the Aleutian Island fault line here. This undersea trench here in the Aleutian Islands here is going to carry that seismic energy further east here into Alaska, either into the Gulf of Alaska or up here into the Peninsula of Alaska, even up here into Anchorage, Alaska, here to the north. That's how that energy is going to go. Okay? It might take a week to get up here to Alaska. We don't know. Okay? We don't know. But what we do know, when we've had energy down here southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula before, within 2 or 3 days, that energy is right here. That energy is right here. What has happened? What's happened? We've had 6.4 earthquakes. We had 6.6. We've had 7.0. We've had 7.4. We had a 7.8. Then we had an 8.8 earthquake. 8.8 earthquake right here, just south of the Aleutian Islands area here. That was not an 8.8 earthquake. As I pointed out when that earthquake hit, that was actually a 9.2 earthquake. That was a 9.2 earthquake, guys. Don't let USGS fool you. That was a much larger earthquake. I showed you the data that I had when that earthquake happened to prove my conclusions as to how strong that earthquake is or was. Now, guys, that seismic energy has gone over here to the Aleutian Islands. It's going over here and it is sat here in the Aleutian Island Trench. It may be up here in Alaska here. Could be here, sitting here, grumbling and groaning over here in the North Pacific here in the Gulf of Alaska. This area is also locked and loaded. We've had a lot of large earthquakes. We had a lot of major earthquakes that happened over there in the Kamchatka Peninsula region. But that only tells us that this energy is locked and loaded. And we're going to have another major earthquake here in Alaska. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Now, let's go south here into Japan. Just north of Hokkaido, Japan here. Just north of Hokkaido, Japan, in the Kuril Islands here. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake here. 63 miles east of Shikotan, Russia. Shikotan, Russia is over here. Over here. These islands are not occupied. They belong to Russia, but they're not occupied. This earthquake is on the Kuril Island region here, along the fault zone. This energy is also going to go north into Kamchatka Peninsula and eventually go over into the Aleutian Island chain as well. Now, USGS is not showing any earthquakes here in Japan. There are earthquakes here. Let's go further south here, just north of Taiwan. We have an earthquake here. The islands between Taiwan and Japan belong to Japan. These islands belong to Japan. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake here. 145 miles west-northwest of Naha, Japan. Naha, Japan. Naha is an island here. This is an island here. Okay? This is a 4.2 earthquake west-northwest of Naha, Japan. Nobody felt this earthquake at all. It's out here in the East Chinese Sea, or North Chinese Sea. I believe Naha, Japan is further down here, right here, okay? But this earthquake, nobody felt. It's in the ocean waters. The ocean waters absorb the shockwaves of this quake. That's very typical. This was just a moderate earthquake. Moderate earthquakes, when they hit land, can knock dishes off of shelves. They can knock plaques off of walls. They can knock books and knickknacks off bookcase shelves, but that's about all. They're not going to be a very dangerous earthquake. They're not going to be destroying homes like large 5.0 to 5.9 earthquakes do. Okay? They're not showing any earthquakes in Taiwan. They're not showing any earthquakes here in the Philippines, which is an out-and-out lie. An out-and-out lie. We've had small earthquakes down here on the southern west side of Luzon, Philippines here. We have small earthquakes here in the central Philippines here. We have small earthquakes off the east coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines is this earthquake, this great big huge island here in the Philippines here. This earthquake fault here to the east is called the Philippine Fault. It's the edge of the plate, edge of the tectonic plate here. Okay? That's why we have earthquakes here. The Pacific plate is subducting under the Philippine plate. The Pacific plate is subducting under the Philippine plate here. That's what's causing these earthquakes. Down here to the south here in the Indonesia here. In Indonesia here. Tobelo, Indonesia here. This is another 4.4 earthquake here. 4.4 earthquake here, guys. This is here. This earthquake is on shore here. It's a moderate, lower side of moderate earthquake. 4.0 to 4.4 are the smaller size of moderate earthquakes. 4.5, actually 4.6 to 4.9 are the larger size of the moderate earthquakes. This is a 4.4. 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes cause moderate damage. In this area of the world, anybody living here on land here felt this earthquake. They felt this earthquake, especially anybody who lives here near the coast. This is right off the coast, right directly off the coast. But anywhere near here, they still felt some effects from this earthquake. The majority of the people who live on this island did not feel this quake. No way possible. It's offshore. plus it was a moderate earthquake. With a larger earthquake, it would have been possibly different. Okay, let's go over here into the Molucca Sea here. This is a 4.7 earthquake here. Yes, it's a bit larger than the 4.4, but again, it's here in the Molucca Sea. This earthquake is a 4.7 earthquake in the Molucca Sea. Now look at this, guys. It's in the ocean here. Nobody even around this. No islands anywhere that can get damaged by this earthquake. The ocean waters of the Molucca Sea absorb the shockwaves from this quake. Okay? There are other earthquakes here in Indonesia as well, but USGS is not showing them to us. They're showing us 3 other quakes. This one down here in south central Indonesia here. This is a 5.0 earthquake. 5.0 earthquake, guys. Look where it's at. This time on land. This time on land here. Actually, it's not. They moved it. This one was on land earlier. USGS moved it. Now this thing, even though it was offshore here, even though they're showing offshore, this is close enough to shore, guys, where anybody here on the shoreline may have felt this earthquake, or may have felt some part of this earthquake here. Okay? Large earthquakes cause damage. Large earthquakes cause damage. This is a 5.0 large earthquake. Okay? Now, there are other earthquakes in this area as well. USGS not showing them. There are about 56 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. 56. 56 earthquakes. USGS is showing us 5 earthquakes. 2 earthquakes north central Sumatra, Indonesia here. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. This is a 4.5 earthquake here, guys. Again, 4.5 earthquakes cause moderate damage. Moderate damage here. There's also a volcano here. There's also a volcano here, guys. I want to make sure everybody realizes that there's a volcano here. This is a 4.5 moderate earthquake. Moderate earthquakes cause moderate damage, as I explained. Okay? Going north here. Offshore from Sumatra, Indonesia here. Offshore here. This is another 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 4.7 moderate earthquake here in the Indian Ocean. The ocean waters absorb the shock waves from this quake. Nobody on land felt this earthquake at all. Like I said, there are other earthquakes here in Sumatra. There are other earthquakes over here in Java, Indonesia here. In east of Java here, we also have earthquakes. Going over here into Papua, Indonesia here, we have earthquakes here. We have earthquakes in Papua New Guinea here. USGS not showing them. Most of these are moderate earthquakes. Most of these are moderate or small earthquakes. Small being 3.0 to 3.9. Moderate earthquakes 4.0 to 4.9. Okay? That's what's going on here. Go over here to the South Pacific, this time in Fiji. Fiji here, guys. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. 4.6 moderate earthquake here in south of Fiji Islands here. Guess what? 510 miles deep. 510 miles deep. Now I'm going to turn this into kilometers here. I want you to see this. Okay? This is actually 499 kilometers deep. 499 kilometers deep. Why are we showing you this? Why are we showing you this, guys? Let me bring up our depth to magnitude conversion chart. Our depth to magnitude conversion chart here. Okay? I'm going to take down the USGS map and show you the depth to magnitude conversion chart. 499 kilometers deep here. Okay, here in the second column here. Second column. We go over here to 500, that's close enough. We're going to add 1 magnitude to this earthquake. We're going to add 1 magnitude to this earthquake. That's going to be what this earthquake is going to do after this earthquake has hit. This is a deep earthquake. This is a deep earthquake, guys. When we have deep earthquakes, they generate or birth a larger, shallower quake. Deep earthquakes birth or propagate a larger, shallow earthquake. In this case, guys, guess what? This was a moderate earthquake, 4.6. We're going to add that 1.0 magnitude to this earthquake, which means within the next 3 to 10 days, we're going to see a 5.6 earthquake as a result of this 4.6 here. We're going to see a 5.6 large earthquake here, shallower and larger than this one here. This earthquake is going to be going over here, either here in the Fiji Islands, or up here in the Tonga Samoa region, or it may move even down to New Zealand, down here into New Zealand. Now, guys, as I've explained to you before, almost never does USGS even show earthquakes here in New Zealand. They're not showing one single earthquake here in New Zealand at all. New Zealand has 27 earthquakes here today. 27 earthquakes. Most of them on the North Island and north of the North Island here in the Bay of Plenty. This catchment, as they say. They have 3 earthquakes down here on the South Island. On the South Island, guys. Okay? But it happens. This happens. It happens on a regular basis. This 5.6 could migrate down here into New Zealand. It could also go over here further into Fiji, or up here in the Vanuatu area here. Or that 5.6 could come over here to the Solomon Islands here. Or it could migrate over here to Papua New Guinea as well. We've seen that happen before. Years ago, quite a few years ago, we've seen earthquakes be propagated over here in the Fiji-Tonga region. And those earthquakes have happened over here in Argentina and Chile region here, southern Chile, Argentina region here. That seismic energy migrated over here to South America. It could again happen here again today. Or not today, within the next few days. Could happen. Could happen. They're showing earthquakes over here in South America. They're showing 1 earthquake here in northern Chile, which is a farce. It's an out-and-out farce. It's a lie. There are 18 earthquakes here in northern Chile, 18 of them. There are 14 earthquakes here in central Chile. We have 1 earthquake here off the southwest coast of Peru. This is a large 5.1 earthquake. 5.1 earthquake, 86 kilometers south of Pococa, Peru. South of Pococa, Peru, offshore. 5.1 earthquake, guys, offshore here. Now, anybody living along the shoreline here may have felt some part of this earthquake, but they did not feel the full brunt of this earthquake. That's because the Pacific Ocean waters here absorb most of the shock waves from this quake. If anybody here along the shoreline felt something, they may have felt small or moderate shaking here, but they did not feel the full brunt of a large 5.1 earthquake here. Okay? Now, southern Peru here. This is the 4.8 earthquake here in the Andes Mountains region of Peru. The Andes Mountain region of Peru. This is the top of the mountains here. The top of the Andes Mountains here in Peru. 4.8 earthquake. There are some small towns and villages here where people live. They may have felt this earthquake, guys. Why? Because this area is rock. This area is solid rock. Yes, there's dirt on top of the rock. But what has happened here? What has happened here? Again, subduction. The Pacific plate has been subducting under the Nazca plate here. Under the Nazca plate here. When the Pacific plate is subducting, which it still is, it raises the mountains like this. It's called mountain building. Mountain building by the underlying plate. Underlying plate being Nazca plate here. It's subducting under the South American plate here, and it's caused the Andes Mountains here. You can't have volcanoes without subduction. You can't have volcanoes without, or subduction without volcanoes. They go hand in hand. You're not going to have mountains without subduction. You're not going to have volcanoes without subduction as well. That's why this earthquake hit here today. Subduction. Now, there's another factor here. As I said, volcanoes. There are volcanoes all throughout the Andes Mountains, in Peru, Chile, and Argentina, even over into Colombia as well. Volcanoes. Now, I don't know for a fact where this was magmatic caused. This could be a magmatic earthquake. Magma flowing off from the Pacific Ocean, off the Pacific plate, over here in the South American plate, in the mountains here. That could happen. That could happen. But this is mountain building as well. The plate subducting underneath the South American plate, causing the Andes Mountains to rise. Okay? There are other earthquakes here as well. USGS has not shown them. This one here in the Pampas region, the farmland region of Peru. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 70 kilometers east-northeast of San Fernando, Peru. Okay? The earthquakes here in Ecuador, the earthquakes here in Colombia, and a couple earthquakes over here in northern Venezuela. U.S. has not shown them. 13 earthquakes over here in Central America. 13 earthquakes. 8 of them are over here in Costa Rica. 8 earthquakes here in Costa Rica. 2 in Panama. The rest of them are either in Nicaragua or El Salvador, and 1 over here in Guatemala. All other earthquakes over here in southern Mexico. 47 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. USGS has not shown one of them. Not a single one of them. That's pretty sad. That's very sad. All these earthquakes here, and USGS never shows them. Never shows them. Very sad. Now, there are earthquakes in Southern California. Earthquakes from Mexico end up going into Southern California via the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. As I said before, the San Andreas Fault here is locked and loaded. Locked and loaded. Both southeast of Los Angeles and over here in San Diego and the Imperial County here. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded for an 8.0, 8.5 earthquake. Okay, locked and loaded. It's going to happen. We don't know when, but it's locked and loaded. People in this region need to prepare. People in this region need to prepare now. That earthquake can hit at any time. Literally at any time. Okay? Now, I want to go past Texas here. I want to go over here to the New Madrid Fault. USGS is showing 1 earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault today. 1 earthquake. This is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. 2.6 minor earthquake here. 12 kilometers, approximately 6 miles east of Williamsville, Missouri. East of Williamsville, Missouri. This is on the New Madrid Fault here. This is right here along the New Madrid Fault here. You can see the New Madrid Fault here. Right alongside the fault. It's going to happen. We're having earthquakes here, guys. All kinds of earthquakes hitting here. And USGS thinks that just because they show 1 earthquake, that's good enough. It's not. I'm about to show you all kinds of earthquakes up and down the New Madrid Fault. There's a lot of movement happening on the New Madrid Fault, guys. We've dropped down from 32 people watching this program to 25. I'm disappointed. I'm deeply disappointed. Because, guys, this is the main topic of our program, the new Mad Fall. This is Arkansas. This seismogram is a computer readout from the seismograph over here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Look what we have here. The top of this seismogram is recording earthquakes here at 12 midnight on the left-hand side. Top left-hand side is 12 midnight. We drop down here to 5 a.m. Actually, before that, let's go down here to 4:30. The blue line here, you see 0400, that is 4 a.m. this morning on the black line. We drop down to the blue line here, that is 4:30. We drop over here to this blue line, this blue earthquake here. This is the 3.1 earthquake here. This is a 3.1 earthquake at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. 3.1 small earthquake here. Before that earthquake, we'd had some minor tremors here, only tremors. Then it suddenly built up to 2.7, 2.8 minor earthquake, and it ultimately ended up being a 3.2 to 3.3 earthquake here. Multiple back-to-back earthquakes. You see primary earthquake lines here. Primary earthquake lines, guys. The primary quake hit in several increments. Several increments, guys. Multiple quakes back-to-back. That's what happened here. Then we had another minor earthquake, and then it went back down to tremors. The secondary quake shake turned out to be just tremors. Then, after that, on the next green line, all we have here are tiny tremors, 1.0 going up to about 1.2, 1.3. But on the next line, 5 a.m. Just after 5 p.m. on the left-hand side, guys, we have 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Then it moves across the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. Just after 5:05 a.m. this morning, we had another 3.1 earthquake here. 3.1 small earthquake here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. People here at Catfish Pond felt this earthquake. Catfish Pond is alongside, on the Arkansas side, west side of the new Mad Fall here. Why did USGS not put this earthquake on the earthquake map? Because they don't think they have to. They don't think they have to show anything going on. But the sad fact is this: earthquakes happen. Earthquakes happen, guys. USGS has decided not to show anybody what's going on. That's a sad state of affairs here. Very, very sad state of affairs. This is Catfish Pond this afternoon. This afternoon, guys. Again, at the top, black line on the right-hand side is 12 noon. The blue line here you see with the earthquake on it. On the left-hand side, that is 12:30. We come over here to 12:42 on the blue line. This is the 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 small earthquake here. Before this and after this, all we have were tremors. But a 3.3 earthquake here this afternoon at Catfish Pond, Arkansas. This morning we had two 3.0, 3.1 earthquakes, this time a 3.3 earthquake here. Okay? Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Then I want to go a little bit south, but inland, over to Atachikun, Arkansas. Atachikun, Arkansas. The same thing applies as with that other seismogram. The top left-hand side is 12 midnight. The next black line is 1 a.m., then 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and so forth. On this red line, you see a tremor here. This is about, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 1:24 a.m. this morning on this red line. This is the 1.7, 1.8 tremor here. That's all. Then all we have are tremors until we get down here to 10 a.m. Actually 9 a.m. 9 a.m. on the black line. We go over here to the right. 9:13 a.m. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Just about 30 seconds later, we have a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake after that. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake after that. Then we drop down to the next red line on the left-hand side. The next red line on the left-hand side is just before 9:15. Actually 9:16. Just before 9:16, we have some tremors. We have a buildup of energy constituting a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Then another minor earthquake after that, 2.6, 2.7. Then tremors after that. Then we drop down here to 10:45 on the green line here, the center of your screen here. This would be 10:54 a.m. this morning. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 small earthquake here in Hatachakuna, Arkansas. On the next red line here, on the left-hand side would be 10:15. Over here now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we are at 10:21 a.m. this morning. Before that, we have tremors. Now we have a 2.1 earthquake. 2.1 minor earthquake. After that, more tremors. Then we go over here further to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes later, we have a 2.2 minor earthquake after that. On the next blue line, all we have are tremors. 10:30 this morning, we have tremors. What happens in Hatachakuna, Arkansas this afternoon? Let's take a look at it. This afternoon, after 12:30 on this blue line here, go over here to the right, approximately 12:43 a.m. Is that right? About 12:40 a.m. this morning, or let me see, this afternoon, 12:40 a.m. this afternoon, p.m. this afternoon. This is the 1.8 tremor. 1.8 tremor. Then we drop down to the next green line with activity here. This is 2:45 on the left-hand side. Go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. This is exactly 1:50 a.m. or 1:50 p.m. this afternoon. Another tremor here. Hatachakuna, Arkansas. Now I get here the people becoming disinterested. No, we're not going to show you major earthquakes here on the Pneumatic Fault. That's not the purpose of our program today. I'm showing you movement on the Pneumatic Fault. Increased energy here being released on the Pneumatic Fault. Increased energy, guys. This is going to continue. It very much is going to continue here. Anyone living near Lake Charles, Lake Charles, Arkansas? Guess what? Look what happened here this morning. 12 midnight on the top left-hand side black line. Nothing but tremors. We drop down here later this morning. We start seeing some minor tremors and earthquakes as well. What happened here? Go down here to the green line after 9:45 on the left-hand side. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes later. Now we have a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. A little over a minute and a half later, we have a 3.2 earthquake. 3.2 earthquake. Okay. This is 9:53 this morning. 9:53 this morning, Lake Charles, Arkansas. 3.3 earthquake here. 2 minutes later, we have another earthquake. Then we have tremors here. And nothing else after that. Tiny tremors, maybe microquakes, that's all. Lake Charles, Arkansas. We're not done. Let's talk about earthquakes in Arkansas here. Marktree, Arkansas. Northeastern Arkansas. Marked Arkansas here. What do we have here, guys? The black line here at the top is 12 midnight. We drop down the blue line here is 12:30 on the left-hand side. 12:31, we have tremors going on. Just after 12:31, we also have some minor earthquakes going on. 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. Only very few seconds go by. Then all of a sudden we're having 3.3, 3.4 earthquakes here. 3.3, 3.4 earthquakes here. Now, guess what? This seismic signal here lasts 2 minutes. 2 full minutes worth of shaking here. 2 full minutes of shaking. Some of that shaking 3.0 activity, small earthquake activity, lasts a minute and a half. Felt earthquake activity last year about a minute and a half here. This morning, people got woken up after 1:30 this morning, guys, with shaking. Their bed moved on the floor. If anybody was out walking on the floor, sitting in a chair, they felt the floor move. They may have felt the ground move out if they were outside. The ground did indeed move here in Marked, Arkansas. This happens every day here, every day, multiple times a day. On the next black line here, 1 a.m. this morning. 1 a.m. started with tremors here. Within the first 30, 40 seconds, we had 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes happening here. Then all of a sudden, that became 2.6, 2.7. Within a very short time, 2.8, 2.9, 2.9, 3.0 earthquakes here in this certain segment here. Unreal. Again, the majority of the shaking lasted 2 minutes. 2 minutes here. Now you see here a bunch of tremors here, shaking here, shaking here. The next time you start feeling shaking here, seeing shaking here, is after 3:30 this morning on the blue line here. We'll go over here to the right. 3:39, 3:40 this morning. 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes here. 2.7, 2.8. Dropping down to 2.3, 2.4 again. And back up to 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. Then dropping down to minor 2.4, 2.5, 2.0, down to terms after that. Then we come down here to this next red line here. This next red line here. 6:15 this morning on the left-hand side. Over here on the right, now we are at 6:25 this morning. 2.6 earthquakes here. 2.6 minor earthquakes here. Then back down to 2.0, 2.2, 2.0, and tremors again. On the next red line over here on the right-hand side, you see 7 o'clock a.m. on the black left-hand side. On the red line going over here to the right, different story. Totally different story. 7:27, actually probably started 7:25. We had tremor activity, 1.0, 1.1 tremors. Within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we had 1.2, 1.3, gearing up to 2.4, 2.5. And just before 8 a.m. this morning, actually not 8 a.m., just before 7:30, 7:29, we had 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then back down to 2.4, 2.6, 2.7. Then moving over here to the left-hand side on the blue line here, 7:30 this morning. 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here. Going a little bit over to the right here. 7:30 and a few seconds, 7:30 and 30 seconds. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Going back down to tremors again. On the next black line on the left-hand side would be 8 a.m. 8 a.m. We have just tremors here. Going over here to the right. 8:11 a.m. 1.2, 1.3 tremors. Building up to 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. 1.8, 1.9, 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. Building into almost instantly a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. The minor tremors continue here. But right before, literally right before 8:15 this morning, on the right-hand side of this black line, 3.2 small earthquake here. Tremors over a 3-minute period developed into a 3.0 earthquake here. That earthquake didn't stop here. It continued after 8:15. 8:15 for another minute and a half, meaning the primary earthquake shaking lasted 2 full minutes, at least 2 full minutes. 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes hitting here. Martree, Arkansas again. The next blue line, you see tremors happening here, developing into 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes, going back down to 2.4, back down to 2.0, and then dissolving into tremors here. The next time we have any size of reportable earthquake, it's after 11:31 a.m. this morning. 11:31 a.m. this morning, we have another 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Then minor earthquakes after that. Then after 11:32 this morning, this time we have another 3.0 earthquake here. Then minor earthquakes and tremors after that. Martree, Arkansas, guys, this happens every day like this, every day. Most of the time during a given day, they have 15 to 20 3.0 earthquakes here every day here in Martree, Arkansas. Every day, guys. Every day. Every day. 24/7. 365 days a year. Martree, Arkansas has 3.0, 3.3, 3.5 earthquakes every day. Let's look at Martree, Arkansas this afternoon here. Ah, crud, what happened to it? Doggone it. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can retrieve this afternoon's earthquakes from the database here. Hold on. I think I can. Hold on a second. I've got it here. Okay, this is Martree, Arkansas this afternoon. Same thing, like I said. It doesn't stop. Earthquakes keep happening all day long. Not just in the morning, but all day long here. Again, on the blue line after 1:30 this afternoon. 1 o'clock is the second black line on the left-hand side. The next blue line is 1:30. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later, we have tremors. 1:36, tremors developing into a 2.3 earthquake. 2.3, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Back down to 2.4, 2.5, back down to 2.0, and then tremors again. Then we go down here to 3:30 on the blue line. Over on the left-hand side here, about 3:40 this afternoon, we have tremors. 3:41 more tremors, larger tremors. 3:43 larger tremors still. Then they develop into minor earthquakes, 2.4, 2.5. Develop into 2.7, 2.8, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes. Then the energy continues over here after 3:45 this afternoon on the green line. Then it's developing into 2.5, 2.6 earthquake here. Minor earthquake, then it dissipates into tremors again. But it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at all. Now we're at 1:45 p.m. on the green line here. You can see you see 4 o'clock over here on the black line here. Drop down the next green line, that is 4:45. Over here on this green line to the right. Now we're talking about 4:56, 4:55, 4:56 p.m. this afternoon. Tremors, 4:57. Tremors begin to be minor earthquakes, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes, 2.9, 3.0, and ultimately at 4:59 p.m. this afternoon, 3.1, 3.2 earthquake here. This afternoon here in Marktree, Arkansas. The earthquakes are continuing, guys. They don't stop. They go all day long, 7 days a week. They don't stop. They don't stop. They continue. This is over on the New Madrid Fault. New Madrid Fault here. Okay? All up and down the fault. Now I'm going to go a little bit further south over here to where Little Rock, Arkansas is. Just east of Little Rock, Arkansas, we have Memphis, Arkansas, West Memphis, Arkansas. Right before we go over the river to Memphis, Tennessee, we go to Memphis, Arkansas, right here. What do we have here, guys? What do we have here? More earthquakes. More earthquakes. At midnight last night, which is midnight last night here on the left-hand side, tremor activity. Tremor activity. Down here is to 6 a.m. this morning here in West Memphis, Arkansas. Go over here to the right. Now we're at 6:11 a.m. this morning. 3.1 earthquake. 3.1 earthquake here in West Memphis, Arkansas. The next red line on the left-hand side is 6:15. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. 6:20 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake. After that this morning, all we see are tremors here in West Memphis, Arkansas. That's interesting to know. Because guess what happens once we go over to Memphis, Tennessee? Guess what happens in Memphis, Tennessee, guys? Memphis, Tennessee. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. This is Memphis, Tennessee this afternoon. Now I know somewhere I have the morning's earthquakes here. Yes, there were some 3.0 earthquakes here in Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee, guy, 3.0 earthquakes. Happens every day. This is this afternoon. Tremor activity this afternoon here in Memphis, Tennessee. Happens all the time. All the time, guys. All the time. Doesn't stop. Does not stop at all. Now, before I leave Arkansas here, I want to drop down to Truman, Arkansas, south of Marktree. Look what we have here. More tremors, all kinds of tremors here. Until we get over here just after 8:45. 8:45 on the green line here on the left-hand side. We go over to the right. All of a sudden, 846, 847, we have tremor activity, don't we? 847, we have minor earthquakes. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. About 45 seconds later, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. 30 seconds later, we have a 3.0 earthquake here. (8:48 a.m. this morning). 3.0 earthquake here. Then we have minor earthquakes happening there, 2.0. Then they go back up to about 2.4, drop down to 2.0 and down to tremors after that. We come over here to 9 a.m. on the black line left-hand side. We have nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors. That happened all the rest of the morning here. Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas this afternoon. Different story. The top black line here is 12 noon. Tremor activity. All across 12:15 to 12:29. Tremor activity. 12:30 to 12:45. Tremor activity. 1 p.m. this afternoon. 1.5, 1.6 tremors. That's it. Then we get back to regular earthquake activity after that. But it's later, much later here. Okay? Down here after 9 a.m. on 8, just before 9 a.m. this morning, on the green line here on the right-hand side, more earthquakes here. Starts off with tremors here. 8:45 tremors. I'm sorry, 8:51 here, tremors. 8:52, 8:53, 8:55, 8:56, 2.0 earthquake. 8:57, 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. 8:59. Right before 8:59, we have a 3.0 earthquake here. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes back to back here. That's why you see a thicker line here. Multiple back to back earthquakes like that. Then we have tremors and minor earthquakes after that. All kinds of stuff all morning. Okay? Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas this afternoon. Tremor activity except for one place. One place, guys. About 12:55 this afternoon on that green line. 1.7, 1.8 tremor activity here. Multiple earthquakes back to back. Tremors back to back. Then after 1:15 this afternoon on the red line, more tremors. Long duration tremor activity. Truman, Arkansas, guys, tremor activity. Usually in Truman, Arkansas, we have minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. And yes, we have tremors here. Not this afternoon. That's usually the activity we have, but not this afternoon. Now, let's go down to Tyrons, Arkansas, further to the south here in Arkansas. Tyrons, Arkansas. Right here. Again, the movement continues here. You see a lot of tremors here. Lots and lots of tremors here. Now, after approximately 7 a.m. this morning, 7:03 this morning, 2.2 earthquake, 2.2 minor earthquake. Whole lot of tremors going on here. Whole lot of tremors going on here. The next good sized earthquakes that we have here are after 11:15 this morning on the red line here. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes after later, 6 minutes after here. This is 11:21 this morning. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. minor earthquake. We go further here to the right. Now we are at 11:13 a.m. this morning. 3.1 earthquake here. 3.1 earthquake here in Tyrone, Arkansas. Either side of the fault line, east or west side of the fault line, movement is still here. Movement continues here on the Pneumatic Fault. It's continuing, guys. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at all. Okay? I'm telling you right now, it doesn't stop. I want to go over to Barker Cemetery, Missouri. Barker Cemetery, Missouri. Here in Barker Cemetery for the past 2 years, we've seen 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes here. 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes that they haven't let us down here. During the past several months, we had 3.0 earthquakes here as well. But today here, we see some 2.3, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes, all late morning here. Early morning here, we just see some microquakes and tiny tremors. Microquakes and 1.0 tremors here. Then here, later this morning, we start seeing some minor earthquakes, that's all. Barker Cemetery, Missouri. Let's look at what we have here this afternoon. This afternoon, guys, it's a different story. The black line here at the top left-hand side is 12 noon. We come across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. 5 minutes later, 3.2 earthquake here. Barker Cemetery. Then we have turns until after 2:05 this afternoon. This time we have a 2.8 earthquake. 2.8 earthquake this afternoon. Unreal. Seismic activity doesn't stop. It continues. The Pneumatic Fault is still moving here in Missouri. I've shown you Arkansas and I've shown you Memphis, Tennessee at the border, right at the Pneumatic Fault. I've shown that to you. Let's go further over here to Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, what do we have here? More seismic activity. At the top black line here on the left-hand side is tremors. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water. Sorry. I get mucus in my airway here. I got a cough. For the first part of the morning from midnight till 7:30, 7:15 this morning, all we have are very tiny tremors, microquakes and tiny tremors. Why is that, you might say? That's the case everywhere, guys. Why? Because the seismologists turned on the seismograph. The seismologists turned on the seismograph because they don't want to have to talk about any earthquakes that happen that they're not awake for. They want to wait till they come back in to work. All of a sudden, after they come back into work, we see earthquakes here. Excuse me. I'm fine now. After 7:15, we see some tremors. 7:30 on the blue line, we see more tremors and minor earthquakes. That continues for the rest of the morning. Tremors and minor earthquakes here. Cape Girardeau, Arkansas. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, I'm sorry. Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It happens. It's ongoing. Every day, guys. Every cotton picking day. Cape Girardeau, Missouri is moving. This is this afternoon. These are tiny tremors literally almost every minute. And every half minute, every quarter minute, tremors happening. Tremors cannot be felt, but this is ongoing. Now, if USGS kept a tremor map, guess what? We'd see all kinds of activity all day long. All kinds of activity all day long. Tons of tremors here. Probably close to 100 tremors right here this afternoon at Cape Girardeau. The entire new manifold is still moving, isn't it? Ongoing here. Ongoing movement here. It doesn't stop. Let's go to East Prairie, Missouri now. East Prairie, Missouri this afternoon. This morning, all we had were tremors. This afternoon is a different story here. Okay? At approximately 1:50 this afternoon, on the green line here that you see, 3.2 earthquake happened here. The bottom of that earthquake was cut off. The top of that signal was also cut off. That means this earthquake was larger than they're showing it to be here. This was a 3.2 earthquake. I believe this was actually a 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 small earthquake here. Then after that, we have some minor earthquakes. Then jumps up to 3.0 earthquake again, and back down to tremors. Tremors for about 2.5 minutes. Then after that, it jumps back up to 3.0 earthquake again. Multiple 3.0 earthquakes back to back here for almost 50 seconds. Multiple 3.0 small earthquakes back to back for about 40 seconds here. Then it goes back down to tremors. Tremors about 4 minutes. Then climbs back up here to minor earthquakes here at approximately 1:59 p.m. this afternoon. Then after that, we come over here to 2 p.m. on the left-hand side on the black line. Those minor earthquakes turn into 3.2, 3.3 earthquakes here. 3.0, 3.2, 3.3 earthquakes here. 2 p.m. this afternoon. Then it drops down to almost nothing but tiny tremors. Then right back up to 3.2, 3.3 earthquakes again. Back down to tremors, back up to multiple 3.3 earthquakes again and again and again. Then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. 2:05 p.m. this afternoon. 3.0, 3.1 earthquakes this afternoon. 2:05 this afternoon. This sequence lasts about 30 seconds. Multiple earthquakes back to back for about 30 seconds. Again, they cut the tops and bottom of this sequence off. This earthquake may have been as large as a 3.3, 3.5. Then it drops back down to tremors here. Wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Tremors last all the rest of the afternoon until after 2:15 this afternoon. About 2:20 this afternoon, we have some minor earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. Then on the next blue line at 2:30 p.m., more tremor activity. That continues until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes later. Actually, 5 minutes later. 2.2, 2.3 earthquake, 2.5, 2.6 earthquake, back down to tremors, 2.2 earthquake, back down to tremors, then 2.5, 2.6 earthquake, up to 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Then suddenly we're back up to 3.0 plus earthquake. 3.0, 3.3 earthquake here, back to back. Look at that. A sequence of about 1 minute worth of 3.0, 3.3 shaking here. Small earthquake shaking here, guys. East Prairie, Missouri. East Prairie, Missouri, guys. It doesn't stop there either. It continues. Let's look at Guam, Missouri here. It's interesting. We have all these people that say they're interested in the new manifold. The number of people watching this program has dropped down to 12, now 14. Gone up to 14. Apparently nobody's interested in what's happening on the Nomad Fault. Maybe I should just get on and drop it and then let the Nomad Fault pop. Let the Nomad Fault pop. As I said yesterday, and I've said before, up and down the Nomad Fault from south to north, up even into Illinois. There are about 5 to 9 million people living up and down the fault. When the Nomad Fault moves, and moves in such a big way, where it's going to cause an 8.0 earthquake, 8.0 earthquake, it's going to unalive thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people. It's going to injure many thousands more, tens of thousands of people injured. Maybe we ought to just let them go. Let them be injured. Let them be unalived. I'm trying to give everybody heads up here. People continue to leave this program. I'm trying to give you a heads up what's going on. Until 3 years ago, all we were seeing were tremors here, tremors 1.0, 1.9 tremors here on the Nomad Fault. Starting 2 years ago, we started seeing some minor 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes. A year ago, we started seeing 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here on the Nomad Fault. Already this year, we've seen 4.5 and 4.7 earthquakes happen here along the Nomad Fault here in Missouri. In Missouri, guys. Moderate earthquakes happening here in Missouri. I'm trying to give you heads up, guys. The Mdarid Fault continues to move. Let's continue to move, guys. No, we do not have any moderate earthquakes here on the Mdarid Fault today. However, we are still seeing small earthquakes here on the Mdarid Fault. The entire fault is still moving. Just because we're not having moderate earthquakes here does not mean it's not capable of it. It is. It's very capable of having a major earthquake here. Major earthquake. Now, guys, what could happen here during the next 6 months? We're already at June 1st this weekend. June 1st, 2026 this weekend. By the end of the year, we could have a large 5.0 earthquake happen here on the Nomad Fault, probably either in Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, Kentucky, anywhere in eastern Missouri, southeastern Oklahoma, southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Yes, Indiana and Ohio, guys. I have evidence of the Nomad Fault moving that way. Seismic energy moving on the Nomad Fault to the east, from Illinois to Indiana, and even over into Ohio, and even possibly even into Iowa. Iowa, guys. Iowa. Fact. This is fact. I have the evidence today showing it. I've shown you this evidence before now. The ground is still moving on the Nomad Fault. Still moving. It's not stopping. Not stopping. Given the information I have shown you already this year, in the past 2 years, from going to 2.0 to 3.0 earthquakes, this year going from 3.5 to 4.5 earthquakes already this year. Before the end of this year, we can see 5.0 large earthquakes hitting the Nomad Fault. Then it is only the amount of time before we see very strong 6.0, 6.9 activity, 7.0, 8.0 major earthquake activity here on the Nomad Fault. It's going to come. It's going to come like a thief in the night. Major earthquake here on the Nomad Fault. I can just read the headlines now. I can see the headlines now. I've been warning about it, but nobody cares. Now we're up to 24 people watching, dropped down to 23, 22 just a second ago. Nobody cares. I want to put the warning voice out right now. This channel is the only channel reporting earthquakes on the Nomad Fault. The only channel that's doing it. Nobody else is showing this preliminary activity here. Nobody else is showing this activity leading up to the earthquake. The major earthquake that's going to happen here. The last time it happened would be 1810. December 10th, 1810, January 20th, 1811. Yes, guys, 200 years. 200 years. I was among the original people here that helped organize a team to hold a disaster drill in Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas, at the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management building in Little Rock, Arkansas. Guess what? 2011. The anniversary of the earthquake. 2011, the anniversary of the earthquake, I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, conducting a disaster drill to warn the people. To help the people in Arkansas Department of Emergency Management to gear up for the earthquake. That was 2011. Now we are here. Now we're here 14 years later. 14 years later. Have we learned anything? Apparently not. Because people don't give a darn. People don't give a darn about their own lives. They don't give a darn about their families' lives or their neighbors or friends. I know for a fact from talking with people here in our chat, from talking to people that called me on the phone, EMA family members that are concerned about living on the Nomad Fault. Their family members living on the Nomad Fault. The friends living on the Nomad Fault. They're concerned that the Nomad Fault is finally going to go, and it is. It's literally when. We don't know exactly when, but it's going to go. It's going to go probably very soon. Very soon. We don't know the time of day, but we know it's going to happen very soon because I keep showing you these earthquakes. Data means earthquakes. Real data means real earthquakes. These real earthquakes are happening every day. Every darn day, guys. You can deny it all you want. These earthquakes are happening every day here. Literally every day. Every day, guys. I want to show you Matthews, Missouri next. Matthews, Missouri this afternoon. Look at this. The top black line on the left-hand side is 12 noon or 12 midnight. 12 midnight. We go across to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes later. Tremor activity. 9 minutes later, 1.7, 1.8 tremor activity. 12:09, 2.0 earthquake. 12:10, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. 12:11, 2.8, 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Yeah, guys, 3.0 earthquake. Small earthquake activity continues for 2 minutes, 2 full minutes of 3.0 activity. 3.0 activity can be felt. People got woken up in Matthews, Missouri today. East Missouri today. Midnight, guys. Then turns after that, after 12:15. Then we jump down here to 6 a.m. this morning. 6:01 tremors, 6:02 tremors, 6:03 you see some tremors building here. 6:04 1.4 tremor activity. Within a minute later we have 2.4 earthquake. 2.5, 2.7. Then suddenly, 5 minutes later, we have 3.3 activity going on. Back to back, off and on. 3.3 activity, 3.3 small earthquake activity here. The ground is moving. You feel it shaking your floor. Your bed may be moving across the floor. Your furniture moving across the floor. You hear things rattling around in your home. Glass in your cupboards rattling around. 3.3 activity here, guys. 2 full minutes of 3.3 small activity. Then dwindles down and breaks up here a little bit. Still 3.0, 3.1, 3.2 activity for another minute. Then it goes back down to minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9, 2.4, 2.5, 2.0 back down to tremors again. Then what happens? What happens, guys? What happens here? 8:15 on the red line on the left-hand side, nothing but tiny tremors. Moving over to the right, the tremors begin to get larger. 1.4, 1.5 tremors. Then we come over to 7:30 on the blue line here. 7:30 we have 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. 1.9 tremor, 2.0 earthquake. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Now we're at 7:31. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then 3.0 earthquake. 3.1, 3.3 earthquake. Minute and a half goes by. Now we're up to 3.3 earthquakes again, back to back. The seismic activity continues after that. We have 4 minutes of secondary quake activity. After the primary quake hits, we have secondary earthquake activity. 4 minutes long. What's wrong with that? The picture is this. When we have 4 minutes worth of secondary quake activity, that means the primary wave was larger than what they're showing here. The primary wave of the earthquake was larger than what they are showing you here, meaning we're seeing 3.0, 3.3 activity here, which means that earthquake was larger than 3.5. Larger than a 3.5 earthquake here. This is only in Matthews, Missouri here. Matthews, Missouri here. This morning, guys. How much more warning are you going to want to have? Now the people drop down to 22 people watch our program. People are showing they don't give a damn. They don't care. They don't give a damn. Yes, Heather, it's supposed to be Preparedness Friday. This is definitely Preparedness Friday. I'm putting the warning voice out that people need to be prepared now for a major quake on the new manifold. It could literally happen any day. By the end of this year, we're going to have a large 5.0 earthquake here on the new manifold. Then after that, within a year after that, we're probably going to have a major 7.0 to 8.0 earthquake on the new manifold. Fact. That's a fact. Given everything we've been seeing going on for the past 3 years, that's a fact of what's happening here. USGS can deny it. The agencies continue blocking our program. blocking us from seeing the information. They did it in Washington State. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network did it to us in Washington State. They've come up with a different way of reporting, but they're still blocking the primary scientific evidence. They're blocking it. This major earthquake on the pneumatic fault is going to happen whether they want it or not. It's going to happen whether anybody's ready or not. It's a fact. It's a cotton picking fact, guys. It's going to happen. Let me show you Decatur, Illinois. I'm sorry, that's not the one. Hold on a second. Let me go get Decatur, Illinois here for a second. Give me a chance. Just a second, guys. About got it here. Okay, I got it. Hold on. This is Decatur, Illinois this morning. Look at that, guys. Look at this. This is the northern side, the northern section of the pneumatic fault. Up until 2 months ago, all we had here were tremors. All we had here were tremors. Now we're seeing 2.4, 2.5, 3.0 earthquakes happening here every day, 24/7. 24/7, guys. Look what's happening here. You can't deny what's going on here. You see it on the seismogram. The seismogram is a computer readout from the seismograph. The seismograph being the machine. These black, red, blue, and green lines are showing earthquakes. Showing minor earthquakes and 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes here in Decatur, Illinois today. Decatur, Illinois this morning. Let's look at Decatur, Illinois this afternoon. Look at this. It continues, guys. The seismic activity continues here to the north. This is serious, guys. This is dead serious. The scientists believe that the pneumatic fault will give it up in central Missouri or Arkansas. Central Missouri or northern Arkansas. The seismic activity will flow north from there, through Illinois, possibly even up into Canada. Possibly even up to Canada. And over to the East Coast as well. The last time the pneumatic fault gave it up, 2011, I should say December 2010, it rang church bells in Boston. It rang church bells in Boston. That's how strong the quake was here on the pneumatic fault. Meaning, by the time the shaking goes over to Boston, anywhere on the East Coast, you're going to feel 5.0 to 6.0 shaking on the East Coast. Large shaking 5.0, larger to 6.0, very strong earthquake on the East Coast from the pneumatic fault. Fact. They can try to hide the facts. They can try to lie about it. they can try to cheat their way out of it, but you see the evidence right here. You can see the evidence right here, guys. The entire New Madrid fault is moving north to south, north to south. Okay? I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's go over here into Indiana. New Harmony, Indiana. Look at this. Early this morning, all we saw were tremors. Again, why are we seeing just tremors all night long? Because the agencies don't want to work. They turn down the seismograph until they come back to work. So they don't have to explain anything going on during the nighttime. They have a hard enough time explaining activity during the day when they're there at work. This morning, later this morning, after 7 o'clock this morning, we see tremors here. 8:30 this morning. 8:34, 8:35 this morning, we had 2.0 earthquake, minor earthquake. Then you see a bunch of shaking after 8:30 this morning. 8:36 this morning, you see a bunch of shaking here. Again, the earth is moving. The New Madrid fault is moving, guys. It's moving. You see 2.0, you see 2.6, 2.7. How about this morning after 10:30? 10:30 on the blue line on the left-hand side. 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 earthquake here, New Harmony, Indiana. Unreal. After 11:15 this morning, on the red line on the left-hand side is 11:15 this morning. We drop over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes later. 11:23 this morning. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake here. New Harmony, Indiana. No, nobody's going to feel a 2.6, 2.7 minor earthquake. But somebody felt this earthquake after 10:30 this morning. After 10:30 this morning, guys, they felt that earthquake. Indiana's also seen earthquakes here as well. New Harmony, Indiana, seeing these earthquakes. It's ongoing, guys. It's not going to stop. New Harmony, Indiana this afternoon. Look at this. Minor earthquakes are still happening here. 1.9, 2.0 tremor, 2.0 earthquake. 1.2, 1.3 tremors. Literally all day long. All day long. New Harmony, Indiana. We see 3.0 earthquakes here, minor earthquakes as well. New Harmony, Indiana today. The northern part of the New Madrid fault. Ongoing, guys. I'm not done. I'm not done. How about Tabor, Indiana, or Tabor, Iowa? Tabor, Iowa, guys. Look at this. Tabor, Iowa. Up at the top left-hand side, we have tremors. Midnight on. Midnight on, guys. 7:58 a.m. this morning on the green line. Tabor, Iowa. 3.3 earthquake. Tabor, Iowa this morning. 3.3 small earthquake here. First time in our history, guys. First time in our written history. Tabor, Iowa. Caused by the New Madrid fault. Tabor, Iowa, guys. It's happening now. Seismicity is increasing. It's increasing going north and going south as well. After 11 a.m. this morning, all you see are tremors here, right? Oh, yeah. Tremors here at Tabor, Iowa. on the pneumatic fault. Does anybody have anything to say about it? I would be very concerned about it if I were you. If I was anybody anywhere in Iowa, I would have felt a small earthquake here, I'd be asking why. Why? The agency here is probably saying, no, don't worry about it, it's nothing. Don't worry about it, it's nothing. What they're not telling you is the pneumatic fault reaches over to Illinois, then goes eastbound into Iowa, Indiana, and it deads out in Iowa and Indiana area. But when you have major shaking up here, it's going to be felt all the way over to the East Coast. All the way over to the East Coast. I'm not kidding. I am being very honest with you. Let's go down into DeRidder, Louisiana on the south. DeRidder, Louisiana here to the south this afternoon. Look at this. Tremor activity here. Tremor activity this afternoon. Again, the pneumatic fault is moving down here in the south. 2 weeks ago, I showed you 3.0 small earthquake activity in DeRidder, Louisiana. 3.0 small activity in DeRidder, Louisiana. Yeah, guys, it's moving. It's moving. It's moving. How many more times do I have to say that it's moving before we get through everybody's skulls? It's moving, guys. It's all over. It's literally all over. I'm not joking here. It's everywhere. From Louisiana north, I've shown you Tennessee, I've shown you Arkansas. I did not show Kentucky, but I can show you earthquakes in Kentucky as well. I've shown you earthquakes in Missouri. I've shown you earthquakes in Illinois. I've shown you earthquakes in Indiana and Iowa now. What more evidence do you need to know that earthquakes are happening here? We need to be prepared, guys. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared now, immediately, right now. You need to get your stuff together, guys. You need to get your things together. Earthquakes are going to happen whether you're ready for them or not. They're going to happen whether you are ready for them or not. Fact. Fact, guys. You need to get prepared and get prepared now. You're not going to have much more chance. When that big earthquake hits, you're not going to get any more warning than we're giving you. And we are the only agency, we are the only people on YouTube that are showing you this information. We are the only information you're going to get. Nobody else is going to give it to you. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for all of you. I'm here for your families. I'm here for your neighbors. I'm here for friends. I want to make sure this information gets out. Yes, I could drop the ball. I could very easily drop the ball and walk away. Because I could walk away because nobody's giving me any information. We're not getting the support like we used to. Yes, YouTube is partly responsible for that because they keep undermining our program. They keep deleting people off our subscribers list. They keep lowering our numbers and not notifying anybody else on YouTube that we're here. They don't want anybody to know we're here. That's a very sad state of affairs. Very sad state of affairs. We're not getting the donations to keep us on the air, really. We sometimes are only getting maybe $50 a month. $50 a month. During the month of May, we got absolutely no money out of YouTube at all. We got no money out of YouTube at all. We had super chats. We didn't get enough money for YouTube to give us any money during the month of May. Supposedly in June, we're going to get over $100 if people continue donating super chats. But you have to donate super chats. Very few people but my cousin and her husband, once or twice a month send us $45. That does not pay the bill we have for bandwidth alone. Bandwidth alone. It doesn't pay for my time. It doesn't pay for my efforts. It doesn't pay me to pay anybody else to give me information. Yes, I have had investigators give me information before, and I paid them for that information. I can't do that anymore. I don't have the money. Guys, I hate to be begging, but I am doing that now. I hate that. We need your support, guys. We need it, and we need it immediately. And Hurricane Heather says just a minute ago, half the time there's only one moderator. We have 20 or more. One moderator here. Hurricane Heather's here. We have 20 or more moderators. Guys, I'm going to do this right now. If you're interested in moderating this program, and you've been here at least a year, send me an email. Send me an email to rltnspdema@gmail.com and tell me that you're interested in becoming a moderator. In that email, give me your name, give me your contact information so I can call you and talk to you about being a moderator in this program and what it takes to become a moderator. We need moderators on this program that are going to be here. We need moderators on this program to help tell people about this program. They share the wealth, share the information. Share the wealth. Yes, this information costs money. This information is pertinent to everybody staying alive. Staying alive, guys. If you're going to survive this earthquake or survive any kind of emergency disaster, whatever it is, there's three things you're going to have. One is a plan. Write an emergency preparedness plan and write it immediately. You're never going to know when the emergency happens, whether it is a flood, whether it's heavy rains, whether it is a tornado, a very bad winter storm, very strong high winds going on. Yes, we've seen that across the entire United States and Europe in recent days and weeks and months. It's happened. 60-mile-per-hour straight winds going across the surface of the earth. That destroys everything in its wake. Destroys everything. Can also knock out windows. We've seen that happen, just like a tornado. We had many tornadoes already this year that destroyed property, people's lives and their homes, people's businesses. We talk about tornadoes on this program. We talk about bad weather. We are in hurricane season already. I may put up another memo that Hurricane Heather sent me a couple months ago, right before hurricane season started. She told us the name of the storms, hurricanes that are going to be coming in here, the name and number of storms we're going to have. Guys, the hurricanes are coming. They're coming. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad as it has been in years past, but it's been bad. We talk about hurricanes, we talk about tornadoes, we talk about all kinds of disasters and everything else going on. We do that for your information. Charles Helm just gave us a $20 super chat. Charles, I want to thank you so much for that. I'm giving you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I'm also giving you a thumbs up for that super chat. Charles, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for that. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you so much. That's how it's done, guys. That's how it's done to help support this channel. We appreciate that so much. That keeps the program on the air. Those kinds of donations to our PayPal keep this channel on the air. Thank you so much. Donations come in the mail as well, as I showed you earlier. Donations come in the mail, guys. that come in the mail. We appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for all you do. Our mailing address here is 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. Our email address to send us comments and questions or even ideas what you'd like to see on this program is rltnspdema@gmail.com. Also, after this program is over, YouTube has a comment section directly below the video. Leave us positive comments there. YouTube uses several analytical factors to determine whether they're going to allow anybody else on YouTube to see this program. Number one is the number of people watching this program. Number two, the amount of time you're watching this program. If you're only here for 10, 15 minutes, they're not going to let anybody watch this program. We have to have at least 20 minutes of people watching this program for YouTube to allow anybody to watch this program. That's a fact. I've seen it happen. We need people watching it 20 or more minutes at least. That's not the least of this problem. Today, after the first 40 minutes, we talked about what was going on in Washington State with the explosion of that chemical tanker at the plant. What else did we talk about, guys? What else did we talk about? We talked about Mdarid, of course. We talked about the Blue Origin Jeff Bezos rocket launch that didn't happen, where the rocket exploded on the pad. And we talked about Iran. Iran. Go figure. Yes, it's partly political. Yes, it is. But it is also our lives, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, our cousins and nephews and nieces, all over harm's way in the Persian Gulf, all in harm's way to protect this country and the entire world, keeping Iran from having a nuclear weapon, keeping the world safe, keeping the United States safe. Iran has said they want a hypersonic weapon, hypersonic missile, so they can attack the United States. And quite honestly, they have a hypersonic missile where they can attack Europe right now. They have that. Russia gave them that. China gave them that. We've got to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Has to happen. Cannot be allowed to happen. Yes, we talk about Iran. Until we get a deal with Iran that will guarantee us safety, we're going to be talking about Iran. President Trump wants the Persian Gulf open around the Strait of Hormuz to keep our oil prices low. Keep our oil prices low. Iran closed off the Strait of Hormuz and our gas prices shot straight up. We cannot allow that to ever happen again. President Trump is taking steps to make sure that happens. But until we get a deal with Iran, or we totally clean Iran's clock, never allow them to have that happen again, then we're not going to be out of there. We talk about emergencies and disasters. That is one of them that can happen. And our friends and our family members are over there in the Persian Gulf in harm's way. May God bless you all. May God bless you all. Before I leave this channel today, I want to leave you a thought. This time I'm going over to the Old Testament in Isaiah. I'm going to Isaiah 24. Here in Isaiah 24, in verse 2, it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spotted, soiled, spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth moaneth and mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And then the city is left in desolation. The gate is smitten with destruction. And when thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord, they shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel, in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have ye heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me, the treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt every treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. This was prophesied by prophets of old. These prophecies are still in effect today. All the prophecies of the prophets have been in place for years, hundreds of years. The prophecies are still in place. You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan to get through the earthquake or any disaster that's going to happen. You need to plan to get through it, get out to the other side, and survive what's going to happen. You need food. You need an emergency preparedness kit. We talked about this. Talked about all this. You need water as well. Those three things. You need a plan, you need a preparedness kit, and you need water. Without any of those three things, you're not going to survive. You won't survive. You need all those. Go back to our previous programs. Go back to our previous programs, usually on Fridays, sometimes earlier in the weeks, where it has emergency preparedness in the title of the program. Or when it says preparedness kits or preparedness plans. Go back there and go through those programs. Those programs will give you all the information you're going to need to survive what's going to happen. And yes, in the future, we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness again. Today is Preparedness Friday. I've told you about what's going to happen, guys. It's definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Prepare now. You're not going to have any more time to do it. I promise you that. Today we talked about the pneumatic quake. It's going to happen. Scientific evidence is showing that the quake in magnitude of earthquakes are increasing. Earthquake magnitudes are increasing, not decreasing. They're increasing. Maybe by the end of this year, we may see a 5.0 large earthquake, maybe larger than that. And within the next 2 years, I fully expect to have a huge new Madrid earthquake completely destroy the center of the United States. Completely destroy the center of the United States. If not before, shortly after that, the Pacific Northwest earthquake there, called the Cascade Megathrust earthquake, is going to happen as well. Huge disaster area. Where are you going to hear it from? Us. We are literally the only person on YouTube talking about all this. We are it. Occasionally somebody might stumble on us as a title of their program. We're the only program that consistently talks about earthquakes and disasters of all kinds. Earthquakes and disasters and disaster preparedness of all kinds. We talk about it, we prepare for it, we want people to know about it. Guys, please do what we've asked you to do. Send us donation to our PayPal accounts, send us to our addresses here scrolling across the screen. Give us time here. Share this program all throughout your lives. Share this program with your family, your extended family, your friends and neighbors, the people you work with, and also the people you associate with on social media. Share this program far and wide. Everybody needs to see this. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Guys, we'll be back on the air tonight or tomorrow or anytime, day or night. If anything happens, as soon as the information comes before us, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as we have the information. On Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon about 12:30, we're going to be coming back on the air with another episode of our Sunday school class called Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. We're glad to have you there as well. If you want a good Sunday school class, we're talking about the New Testament. We're actually talking about over in Joshua now. Joshua, going into the rest of the center part of the New Testament. We're going to study it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it so we have a greater understanding of what's going to happen. Join us here for our Sunday school class at 12:30 Sunday afternoon. Or before that, if we come on the air with another disaster or emergency that happens. God be with you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side, guys. Have a good night. Take care, everyone. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. Complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning.